is Robert. Welcome to Af Responsible. Share, like, spread like wildfire. Question is, what would happen in Kenya if all the dairy cows died? Yeah, we have about 4 million dairy cows of which we get our milk on a daily basis. What would happen? Yeah, that sounds like it cannot happen, but I feel like there are people who are planning on it. Since 2019, an American cooperative has been trying very hard to sell their milk here in Kenya. Yeah, it is not going to be that we're going to have more milk. What will happen is that those farmers, and 80% of all milk production here in Kenya is produced by smallholders. We can make an assumption that that's about 3.2 million people. If you say that each farmer on average they have, actually 1.5, if you say on average every farmer has 2 cows. So those are 1.5 million people who will wake up without a job, without livelihood. Yeah, because in the cities where they're trying to force us to live in the cities, yeah, they want us to be buying milk that is coming from America. Yeah, the USA, the US of A, want to sell milk here. It is very easy. It is making it in powder form, just basically evaporating the water, and basically shipping it here. And shipping via water on these oceans, it's very, very easy, and it's very, very cheap. So when it gets here, you get reconstituted, and there you have just killed an entire industry that employs more than 1.5 million people. Yeah, and we say tuna umoka, and the people who do this importing, obviously they will be billionaires in dollars, but at the cost of 1.5 million Kenyans concentrated in Rift Valley and the Central, where most of milk production takes place. Do we want free trade agreement to be to include this? That, yeah, free, like there is access to the markets. Yeah, because we are the market. The basket used to be a basket case of borrowing, but now everybody sees it's a market because the same minds out there are trying to concentrate us in tall buildings. Do we call them Jingapo? Yeah, I said it. Yeah, they want to concentrate us in places that look like Jingapo, and we are calling that development, where somebody sees that as a way of concentrating us into concentration camps, so we can be having milk coming directly from America and be shocked. One of the best milk that you use, powdered milk, believe it or not, it comes from Ireland. And I want you to look at that package. They will say it's constituted in Kenya, but it's actually from Ireland. Yes, the UK. I mean, the Europe. And we are talking development. We are talking employment. When we have a strategy by others who want to take over our market that is going to kill 1.5 million jobs, because, yeah, dairy farming is going to be killed as soon as we start importing powdered milk. Is that development? Is that the strategy on how to develop this economy by opening our markets for others to come and sell us milk? Shouldn't Githunguri, and I say that because, yeah, that's where Fresher comes from, right? Rise up and protect their cows, because that's going to be hit hard when we start allowing people silently to import our milk, the milk that we put on the table coming from abroad. Shouldn't we hedge and protect our markets instead of just simply having this word free trade area? Yeah, sounds good, but for who? It is free for who? Well, at risk is 1.5 million jobs. That's how dairy farming is going to be killed in this country, and we cannot let it happen, because we are going to have to deal with a lot of movement to the cities, because all these people are unemployed and their kids that, you know, are able to get school fees or able to get livelihood from those cows. What is going to happen? They're all going to start coming to the cities. And the prediction about that a quarter of the world population is going to be living in cities in Africa, it is not necessarily that it's going to happen naturally. It is actually a cultivation theory. It's a strategy that there is to push those people into the cities. And one of them is by killing dairy farming. Because when that production stops, I want you to think about the economic collapse that is going to take place in those villages, in those places where milk is produced. Because it's where it's the agrovet, it is the shop where they're buying food, it is the shop where they're buying, their own food, not just the cow food, after they get money from the milk production, and the logistics and the drivers and like everybody that is employed by that flow of milk that is coming from. That's a strategy that is going to kill a lot of jobs. And the goal, believe it or not, it is not just the selling of the milk here. It is simply so that all those people that are in the villages will have no economic hope. There's not going to be any economic activity, and they will start moving to cities. And as we get concentrated in the cities, oh yeah, that becomes a market. Because it does not, that market, that slum that is going to, the concrete slums that we are calling Jingapo, is that the name, Jingapo? Did I hear it right? Yeah, those are basically economic slums, the concentration camps, so that it's very easy to set up major supermarkets that is going to be serving these concrete slums. Yeah, they're also economic slums. It's just that they are concrete and they're high. And they look like Singapore. Because if you truly look at Singapore, and I was going to do a different episode about that, and I will do, is that they woke up in 2020 and they realized farming is very important to them because they import all their food. And they came up with a policy that is called 30 by 30, which means 30% of their food production should be from within the country by 2030. Why? Because they realize farming, production of food for a country is a national security issue. But here we are growing concrete in cities that are being driven by people who want to concentrate us in cities by killing dairy farming, so that all those who are supported by dairy farming will not have no hope in those villages. That's how you kill communities and concentrate them in cities. That's a strategy by 2050. And if we do not prevent it, it will happen. And how do we prevent it? Legislation that no milk from abroad can be sold in this country. Yeah, that is not protecting a market. So don't just go with the idea that free market means opening borders and everybody can dump. Let me use that very same USA. USA is very protective of their market even when they're talking about free markets. The fact that they use 120 volts, most electronics are not going to work in the US because they don't use 240. That's protecting markets. They drive on the right side. Why? You cannot just take a vehicle there. If you're producing a vehicle that is on the right hand, that's protecting the market. They use gallons and not liters, because if you're measuring things in gallons, that in itself has protected their market. But they will tell you, open up your market. But you're going to open that market. The strategy is not just selling the milk, the strategy is killing your farming. And it's killing your dairy farming, it is killing the entire economic activities that is related to dairy farming in those places. And the only solution for those people will be migration toward the city. So we are basically being herded like sheep with strategies that looks very good on paper as free trade agreement, but it's simply to move us to the cities so we can be economic slaves for people who will be importing stuff. People who will be importing powdered milk, GMO milk. Should I add? We need to wake up and protect this country from silent takeover that is going to be done, not using gunpowder, but milk powder. Yeah. Milk powder is more potent to destroying this country than gunpowder. And we need to wake up to this. And we need to prevent it by law and by vigilance. So that every time you're buying some milk, just make sure that it does not say it is coming from abroad. Because if it's coming from abroad, my friend, we are just being taken over with milk powder. How embarrassing to a future generation, telling them we were taken over, not by gun, but by milk. That's how we got taken over. We were taken over by milk powder. How sad. We need to wake up to this. We need to prevent it. We need to stop it. We need to wake up from the slumber, economic slumber. Before you go, I have written 4 books about all these things I'm talking about. They're available at Nuria, and I'm going to post them right here so you can see. And again, if you'd like to support the work we're doing, I'm going to put my number here just in case you want to, send some coffee or get in touch with me for talk shows or for, engagement. Robert, Af responsible. Yeah, Africans being responsible. That's Af responsible. Thank you, and God bless.